Hey everyone, it's me again, Brandie Michelle Peters, and this is my channel where I talk about what it's like being a freedom-seeking creative entrepreneur. So I had posted a video sharing with all of you what it's inevitably going to be like if you decide to start to pursue your creative ambitions. And I kind of gave my perspective on why those of us who pursue such endeavors tend to find ourselves feeling quite lonely. And, it wasn't always like that. I want to share this about my personal experience as a creative entrepreneur who has been doing it for over a decade now, just to see if anybody else can relate. It used to be that you could typically find either on a web forum or social media community groups, possibly a Facebook group like mine, where you could share what you're working on and find other kindred spirits who also were working on similar things. And the vibe and energy of that community was encouragement and collaboration. It's not really like that anymore, is it? Now, I largely blame this on the 2015, 2016 internet business gold rush that happened. I got swept right up into it. If you know, you know, but it's all these bro marketing tactics. For me, I absorbed the culture partially from following people like Gary Vee, as well as being part of communities where people were doing funnel hacking, and ClickFunnels kind of came into factor there, but there were other kind of similar type. I don't know. It was an energy shift, all right? When everybody was about the tactics and the strategy and getting their thing going, and it became more about kind of tricking people into opting into your funnel and less about the community aspect of what we were all doing, that's when things started to shift. Come 2016, 2017, 2018, 2019, right up until like mid-COVID, it just got worse and worse because as more and more people bought courses and trainings and learned all these convoluted strategies, Facebook groups or any social media community, any space, instead of like using it like a community, people just started using it as kind of their dumping ground for their own stuff. I talk about this a lot. Like, you don't want to just like dump and run. That's not going to really work. It's not going to build the audience that you're aspiring to create. But unfortunately, a lot of people learned and started applying these tactics. We also had things that became really blatantly obvious when they became massively common, such as like hiring a VA to cold DM people to try to get them into your funnel, or using automation tools that often like made you seem kind of like a robot, even before AI. All of those things, which are tools, which I don't hate on the tools, became saturated. And for other creative entrepreneurs like myself, all of a sudden, these spaces that we were using to find each other and like encourage each other as fellow creatives, everybody was posting about how many K they made per month with their funnel, and everybody was some kind of coach or, you know, online entrepreneur, marketing guru. And I'll be the first to admit I participated in some of that. I was part of that culture. I wasn't outside of it, but I also observed it become really saturated quickly, really obvious when people were kind of following template strategies and methods. Clearly, there were some people who it was working for, and they typically became, the celebrity marketing gurus, and everybody had to have their hot course. But most people, really, it was kind of a different type of pyramid scheme where really the problem was they didn't actually have a proven offer that they could sell. So even though they're participating in this culture, the thing at the end of their funnel was, for lack of a better word, a piece of shit. So they couldn't sell it even if they had advice from people who were genuinely giving good digital marketing advice to people who really were not yet ready to be selling anything online. So this happened, and I observed this happen for a good, like I said, 10 years. I watched it, I participated in it, I kind of stepped away from it, I thought about it, and here I am to tell you it hasn't helped many of us who identify with kind of being that freedom seeking creative entrepreneur. I have often described it like this for myself personally, where I actually identify more as being creative and artistic and interested in marketing tech and interested in communities. I really have always had that as a fundamental value. I am somebody who's chronically online, loves it there, likes making connections with people all over the world, and wants to do that however I'm able to. That's what I want to do with my life, okay? And I think there's a lot of people like me who, like I said, have had to commercialize themselves as creatives in order to turn themselves into a marketable product or service that people actually want, whether they're building an agency, which is what I originally did, or do some form of consulting or coaching or service-based business, or create digital products or courses or programs. I love the creative aspect of that, and I think a lot of people enjoy the creative aspect of it, and it's really appealing to us neurodivergent types who are also multifaceted. So we enjoy the creative, we enjoy a little bit of the tech, we enjoy the community, we enjoy the various aspects of these types of projects. However, I don't think that online marketing culture, as I said, it's kind of oversaturated itself anyways, but even while that was all happening, I don't think it served us. And it also, because a lot of us tend to also be very sensitive and observe things that don't feel right, like intuitively. We observe them, like I'm talking about those hustle bro, boss babe marketing tactics. If you know, you know. Like you only need to get so many copy pasted, hey girly type DMs to just feel really icky about the whole thing. Well, I don't think it helped us when it comes to community and finding other like-minded people to collaborate with, because part of that culture became possessive and scarcity oriented, and by scarcity oriented, I just feel like it was competitive, and it felt like there really wasn't enough of a market share for everyone to be successful. And it became very obvious as well that there was also a class system as well as kind of a, how shall we describe it? Hierarchy. Because the truth is, a lot of the funnels that are successful, a lot of people who make it in this industry start with a lot of financial backing. They either have money themselves or are able to get money and invest those in ads, and it's really hard to get these things off the ground without investing in the paid ads to acquire your traffic, unless you're somebody who already has an existing audience, which I can talk about that in a future video. But because this video is already getting a little bit long, I just want to focus on how that contributed to that feeling of isolation and loneliness. When the communities that were available to us in the beginning no longer felt like actual communities where you could get resources, help, feedback, encouragement, support from others who actually understood this specific niche thing you were doing, when those no longer felt like real communities, when they started to just feel like scroll holes where everybody was trying to take what they could from them, but nobody was pouring in, it starts to feel like there's nowhere for you to go, that you're isolated on this journey. And I know I personally went from being super involved in a lot of these communities and actually proceeding as if they were social media communities I was participating in, meaning I'm engaging in the comments, I'm making friendships with people, I'm talking to people, not just to sell them things, but to actually build relationships with them, which really served me early on in building my business, by the way. And it's what I'm trying to default back to in everything that I do. It just became not worth my time to be part of those groups. So when I was building my agency, access to any form of support or community was at the all-time low. I was doing it in a vacuum. I was doing it in isolation by myself because you have to be very selective when you are having some success in these online ventures about who you let in as well, because it can be very cutthroat. And because of the competition and the scarcity reality, because it was more a reality than anything else. It's true, the buying audience for these types of things in some cases are much smaller than what the industry has you believe, in order, again, to sell this idea of internet marketing guru, internet marketing, freedom hacking, freedom seeking type success. You know, you got to get your 10K months. You got to be a boss babe. Oh boy. We've been through it. If you know, you know. Okay. If this is resonating, you get it. If not, you have no idea what I'm talking about. And maybe that's a good thing for you. Either way, it happened. It's something I've lived through. It's something I feel like I've had to heal from in a way. And as I'm entering a new era where I'm thinking, like, how do I want to spend my time? Because I'm getting this special privilege of kind of starting anew and looking at things from a new perspective. And as somebody who's been, well, successful enough to do it and support myself and support my family for the amount of time that I have, to be able to kind of like look back at everything and kind of evaluate it for what it was, but also be in a place where I can be experimental and try different things. I thought, hey, wouldn't it be awesome if I could kind of shift things back to what really served me, allowed me to actually achieve my freedom, built a network of fellow creatives around me, and made it enjoyable to do this stuff again. As I've mentioned in my other videos, I have created a group called the Enlightened Entrepreneurs Community. It is a Facebook group for those who are still on Facebook, rocking it, killing it, being old millennials, getting old on Facebook together. It's a great place to be. The Facebook group, people are curious about where it came from. It already has 40,000 members. Well, it was an old Facebook group that I built my business in way back when, okay? That community is one that was given to me by someone else who left Facebook and made me the admin. They handed it over. And the plan was always to revive it and make it awesome again. And I was never able to do that because I was bogged down in all the responsibilities that having an agency created. But I'm in a place right now where I can do this, and so I have relaunched it, and I'm inviting other people to come and participate. And the tone we are setting is that this community is about bringing other enlightened, freedom-seeking, creative entrepreneurs together. Because is it inevitable that you will be lonely if you are a creative entrepreneur? Well, I don't know. I don't think you have to be, but I think for us to support each other, we also have to unlearn some of the things that our community has adopted. We also have to be willing to admit that somewhere along the way, the idea of supporting each other and providing resources and information and feedback and all of the good things that any culture and community should have got gatekept behind paywalls. And not that that's necessarily a bad thing. I think it's actually a good thing to monetize your expertise with some form of membership or digital products. Highly recommend it. It's part of what I've done. However, gatekeeping everything behind a paywall, and not all of it was the best quality information led by the most intentional, people-oriented leaders, maybe that led us astray a little bit. Maybe there should be more openness in sharing because there's a part of it that is about supporting each other. You know, it's like, look at this thing I made. Can I get some feedback on it? Can I just get a go you, a little support, a little encouragement? If there's more people proceeding in that way genuinely, then it's easy enough to see value in a space where that's encouraged and where many people benefit and thrive because that's the tone that's set. I'm not saying that I'm 100% perfect all the time because I'm unlearning some of these hustle bro tendencies that are strategies and tactics that are based on actual digital marketing logic rules that work, but the tone of which people have been proceeding with them is where I think we all got messed up. And I would love to see things, for a refreshing breath of fresh air, at least feel a little bit more inviting and a little bit more, hey, we're all in this together. This is a weird, difficult thing that we're doing, putting ourselves out there. And there is a space for people like us to be together and encourage one another and celebrate each other's successes and information share and build one another up, while also, when merited with good offers, you're able to market and create somewhat of an economy. The motto I have written for the Enlightened Entrepreneurs group is, "We believe a thriving community creates a thriving economy." And I am encouraging people to network and refer each other. I am encouraging people to collaborate. I'm doing all the things that I know have worked without as much as the ick. So if this sounds interesting to you, I would love to invite you to join. Thank you so much for watching my video. Let me know how I did, because I mentioned I feel like a beginner doing these videos. So if you watched until the end and there was something you think I can improve on, I'll take your feedback right now. Thank you so much for being here. Maybe a subscribe? Maybe? I'd really appreciate it. Come check out my group. Take care.